What is going on, guys? We're back, and Ilia Topuria just knocked out another fan favorite. Somebody needs to put an end to this, bro. I cannot witness another knockout like a Volkanovski, a Holloway, or an Oliveira. So we're about to strategically, there's a vocabulary word for the day, strategically matchmake not every single UFC fighter, but every relevant UFC fighter, and at least in my eyes, and who they should fight next following UFC 317, guys. I'm not going to lie. Some of these may be popular opinions. Some of them might not be, but I'm the best matchmaker on here. Hunter, Dana, I know y'all seen my channel. I know y'all need another matchmaker to bring the fire back to the UFC. I got you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started with some heat. Ilia Topuria, what is going to be next for Ilia Topuria? Is he going to knock out another legend, another GOAT, another fan favorite? Not necessarily, because Ilia Topuria, you are fighting Paddy Pimblett, my boy. I'm sorry. I understand what you're going to say. This fight makes no sense. I agree to an extent it does not make sense in terms of the ranking because Paddy Pimblett's the number 8 contender. I don't believe that he deserves a title shot. Not at all. He's coming off a win over Michael Chandler, who has not won since the ghost of Tony Ferguson. And before that, he beat Bobby Green. Everybody beats Bobby Green. Anyways, Ilia Topuria, there's not a, okay, I'm not even going to say that there's not a true number 1 contender because there is. Arman Tsarukyan, but Dana White does not like Arman Tsarukyan. I understand that he pulled out of UFC 311. He tried to ruin the event. But Dana has made it very clear, even though Arman weighed in as the backup fighter, guys, the UFC says that they don't play favorites. Colby Covington in the past has weighed in as a backup fighter, and that guarantees him a title shot. But however, the actual number 1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan, Dana's made it clear he's not fighting for the title next. He said it was a good step in the right direction for him making weight as the backup fighter, but he's not fighting for the title next. So I'm guessing the UFC is going to do like an Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. Rest in peace, Dan Hooker. We all love Dan Hooker. Arman Tsarukyan is going to brutally murder him. He's going to finish him via ground and pound, if I had to guess. I think it's going to be a massacre. Arman Tsarukyan is going to do Dan Hooker badly. I'm guessing that's going to be the match that would be made next. But I don't want to see that, bro. I don't want to see my boy Dan Hooker get done like that, but it is what it is. In the meantime, I've just heard some rumors. I've seen apparently it's been leaked for UFC 319. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Dricus himself said, I don't know if it was alive, but if y'all don't believe me, y'all can find it on social media somewhere. But Dricus du Plessis apparently leaked that Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje is the co-main event of UFC 319. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I think Paddy Pimblett wins this fight sort of easily. I know Justin Gaethje's still a killer. He's still one of the best lightweights on the planet, but stylistically, Paddy Pimblett just wins this fight. And that would only be 2 months away. UFC 319 would be going down in August. So Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje will be a number 1 contenders fight. If that is true, guys, I don't know how true this is. Gaethje's talking about retiring if he doesn't fight for the title. I'm sorry, Gaethje, you're not fighting for the title. Even Ilia Topuria himself said he doesn't view Gaethje as a legend. He does not see him on the same level as Holloway, Volkanovski, and Charles, and I agree. I do agree. I love Justin Gaethje. I'm not saying that, but you just don't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. If you beat Paddy Pimblett, sure. Justin Gaethje can fight for the title, but I don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, if this is true, Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje in August, we can turn around. We can let Ilia Topuria just chill for a minute. Just, chill with his 2 belts. Just soak in all the fame that he's getting. He just passed Islam Makhachev in Instagram followers, by the way. I know that's not that. It doesn't mean that much, but Ilia Topuria is becoming the biggest star in the sport right now. Ilia Topuria, you can take a little bit of time off. I know you took 0 damage in this fight, but let's hold off. Let's let Paddy Pimblett fight Justin Gaethje in August. And let's turn around and do Ilia Topuria versus the winner, which I do believe will be Paddy Pimblett. And let's turn around and have y'all fight in Spain at the Real Madrid Stadium, the Bernabeu, or however you say it, in the beginning of 2026. Think about this, guys, logically. I'm cooking, okay? I get that Paddy Pimblett does not deserve it. Even if he's not going to fight Justin Gaethje, let's say Gaethje turns that fight down. The UFC is still going to make this fight, bro. I promise you. Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, they have the bad blood. They have the history. I don't think the UFC is going to squander an opportunity like this. They can't afford to. Ilia Topuria is the next best thing since Conor McGregor. I don't like to compare him to Conor, even though there's so many similarities. But Ilia Topuria is better than Conor McGregor, at least in terms of skill, star power. I would not say that yet. He has potential, I guess. But if Ilia Topuria goes and knocks out Paddy Pimblett in front of 70,000 people in the Bernabeu Stadium in Spain, come on, bro. He's walking into another level of superstardom. And again, I know Paddy Pimblett does not deserve it, but you cannot tell me you would not be excited for Paddy versus Ilia inside a stadium. And you know, Paddy Pimblett is a big enough star, especially worldwide, to sell out an arena. He's a perfect opponent for Ilia Topuria to fight in Spain. And I'm telling y'all, I'm cooking right now. Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, let's say February, maybe March of next year. Let Topuria recover from his 2 punches that he got landed on him. You know, his couple leg kicks that Charles landed. Rest in peace, Charles, man. I love you. But Ilia Topuria can just soak this in for a minute. Let's do Paddy Pimblett versus Gaethje for the #1 contender fight. Let Paddy recover a little bit because he might take some damage against Gaethje. Gaethje's a very violent human, bro. Justin Gaethje. But I'm cooking, guys, because all in the meantime, Islam Makhachev is going to fight Jack Della Maddalena probably in November at Madison Square Garden. If I had to guess, I think that makes the most sense. So whether or not, actually, Islam plays a big factor in this because if Islam loses, we could be seeing him coming back down to 155 challenging Ilia Topuria. But if Islam beats JDM, we might see Ilia Topuria go up and chase Islam and fight him for a third title at 170. But I think all of this could still work out. Ilia Topuria versus Paddy at the beginning of 2026. And if Ilia Topuria wins that, which I do believe that he will, he can either go from that fight, which he'll already be the top dog in the UFC. He'll be the biggest star if he's not already. If he knocks out Paddy Pimblett in a stadium, he would 100% be the biggest star. But this is perfect to catapult Ilia Topuria into a fight with Islam Makhachev. Pound for pound #1 versus pound for pound #2, or at least they should be if they both keep winning. But Ilia Topuria versus Islam, the winner is the undisputed GOAT of the UFC, bro. I do not care about quantity of wins anymore because the quality of Ilia and the quality of Islam outmatches every single UFC fighter in history. So you cannot tell me you would not be more excited for this fight than any other fight, potentially in UFC history. I think it would compete with Khabib versus Conor if Topuria goes out there in front of a stadium, guys, in front of 70+ thousand people, knocks out Paddy Pimblett, and let's say Islam keeps winning as well, wins the welterweight title, bro. This is the definition of legacy fight. At that point, it would be GOAT versus GOAT. I'm telling you, winner take all. Whoever wins that fight is the greatest fighter of all time. But enough yapping about Ilia. Ilia versus Paddy, I think, is the fight to make, even though it doesn't make all the sense in the world right now. Let's do that. Let's let Arman fight Dan Hooker sometime later this year, whenever Dan Hooker's healthy. But let's move on, bro. Enough with Ilia. Charles Oliveira. Rest in peace, Du Bronx, bro. Very sad sight to see. Ooh, alliteration coming in hot. But Charles Oliveira, I think he should fight Max Holloway. Whether or not Max Holloway defeats Dustin, I don't even think it matters. If Max Holloway does defeat Dustin Poirier, he's going to have a claim to the title, even a better claim to the title than Justin Gaethje, since he just beat Justin Gaethje and knocked him out. And then also potentially coming off a win against Dustin Poirier. He's not going to get a title shot against Ilia Topuria because we've already seen it. We've got guys like Paddy Pimblett who really deserve it, man. I'm kidding, obviously, but Max Holloway, even if he beats Dustin, I don't think he's going to jump into a title shot straight away. So even if he loses, guys, I think Oliveira versus Holloway, the rematch, by the way, some of y'all don't know that. That's a crafty bet. That's a casual, that's a hardcore take. Let me say that. But Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway makes all the sense in the world. Either both of them coming off a loss, two legends, or Max Holloway coming off a big win against Dustin Poirier. Oliveira coming off a loss in a title fight. I don't see either of these guys fighting down in the rankings. I see these two fighters for the remainder of their career fighting only legends, fighting only money fights. You could put the BMF title on the line if Holloway wins, but you don't have to. This could be a banger co-main event, 5-rounder, bro. They honestly have enough star power to main event themselves, so possibly they do a BMF title fight. But either way, Oliveira versus Holloway, I don't even know who I'd pick in this fight. Both guys coming off a KO loss. But Holloway hopefully can bounce back against Dustin. I don't even know who I want to win in that fight. It would be better for the division if Holloway beats Dustin, but at the same time, I would like to see Poirier ride off into the sunset off a win. But either way, I think this matchup makes a lot of sense. Charles Oliveira, the number 2 contender right now? If Max Holloway beats Dustin Poirier, he could potentially get wins over Poirier, Gaethje, and Oliveira. Then Max Holloway will probably be fighting for the title right after that. And not only that, Holloway adding Oliveira, Poirier, and Gaethje all to his resume, bro, his already insanely stacked resume. It's hard to deny Max Holloway at that point. I mean, possibly we're looking at a top 10 fighter of all time. But anyway, he still has to beat Dustin first. I'm not saying he goes ahead and beats Dustin. I'm not writing that in. I'm kind of leaning towards Max Holloway right now. But let's keep it rolling. Alexandre Pantoja, dominant performance against Kai Kara-France. He's fighting Joshua Van. This is no surprise to anyone. They got into the cage. Joshua Van just beat Brandon Royval in one of the best fights I've ever seen, ever. And he's the number 1 contender. He just beat the number 1 contender, Joshua Van. I get he was number 12, but he stepped in on short notice, by the way. Took out the number 1 contender. He's next. Pantoja's already cleared out the whole division. Joshua Van's a fresh matchup. He's young. He's hungry. He looks great. He's super exciting. This is a great fight. This is a great fight. I hope that Joshua Van wins, but Pantoja looks unbeatable right now. I think Alexandre Pantoja should be a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I don't see how he's ranked number 9. That's another conversation for another day. But the Joshua Van title run is real, bro. It's here. It's here. This man, joined the UFC 2 years ago, and he's already got 8 or 9 fights under his belt. Oh my gosh. The activity is insane. This is the type of guy you want as champion. I love Pantoja as well. I'm going to be a little bit torn here. Pantoja's going to win, bro. I'm not going to lie. Pantoja's going to win. He's going to take his back. I get that Joshua Van has great takedown defense, but Pantoja's a different threat. He's been fighting strikers his whole career. That's how he's the champion. He's been defeating these strikers. He looks great on the feet as well. He just pressures you. And he takes down these fighters that are supposed to have phenomenal takedown defense. You just can't stop Pantoja. But anyway, is this enough to headline a main event by itself or headline a pay-per-view by itself? I don't know. It's a great co-main event, bro. This is one of the best possible co-main events you could ask for. Joshua Van, again, he has hype, but more so from the hardcore fans. He's not a well-known name yet. He's not a household name by any means. Neither is Pantoja, sadly, just because flyweight tends to get disrespected. But bro, banger, banger, banger fight. We can do it as a co-main event. I'm fine with that. Pantoja versus Van, this could take place later this year. Van did take a lot of damage, but he's a dog. This man is a dog. You know what? If it was up to Van, he'd turn around and fight Pantoja next weekend if he wanted to. But anyway, I could see this, potentially being a co-main event at Madison Square Garden, maybe. Maybe they take on the December pay-per-view, which I'm guessing will be in Vegas. I'm not 100% sure, though. But anyway, this is a great fight. This is a no-brainer. Let's keep it rolling. On to the losers of both of those matchups. Let's have them square off. Brandon Royval. I'm not even going to say he looked bad, bro. It was a great fight with Joshua Van. Royval was potentially even on his way to winning that fight until he got dropped in the 3rd round. It was a super close fight. It would have been so tough to score. I thought Van won round 1. I thought Royval won round 2. And going into the last couple seconds of round 3, I thought it was anybody's fight. But Brandon Royval was the number 1 contender. He's not going to drop too much. Like I said, great performance. Kai Kara-France, on the other hand, not so great performance. And it's not even because he looked bad. It's just because Pantoja is that good. At least that's what I believe. Brandon Royval, the type of guy who's been beating everybody in the division except for Pantoja. Well, at least now Pantoja and Van. I think you just square these two off. Royval versus Kai Kara-France, a rematch from a couple years ago. Brandon Royval got the submission victory, I believe. Let's run it back. This does not have to be a number 1 contenders fight. Brandon Royval versus Kai Kara-France. It's just a good fight. It's an entertaining fight. Probably a striking match for sure. And it's fun, bro. I thought about Manel Kape. I thought about rebooking Manel Kape versus Brandon Royval. Or even Kai Kara-France versus Manel Kape. But I want to punish Manel Kape. And the reason is partially because I don't like him, sure. But Manel Kape pulled out of another fight. He should not jump straight back into a number 1 contenders fight. I don't care. I want to see Manel Kape versus Kai Asakura. I understand Kai Asakura is booked for 319, I think, against Tim Elliott. Now, I believe he will win that fight, honestly. And if he does, I think it sets up Manel Kape versus Kai Asakura beautifully. That's also a rematch in the making. Beautiful fight, beautiful matchmaking, guys. I know I'm the best matchmaker out here. Let's keep it rolling, though. Beneil Dariush, I'm sorry. Your time has come, buddy. It's time for you to get sacrificed. I thought hard about what should be next for Beneil Dariush. And out of all the options, whether you go with Mauricio Rufi or Rafael Fiziev, you're getting sacrificed. I'm sorry, we have to do it to you, Benny. I love Beneil Dariush. Nothing else makes sense. We have to offer you up as a sacrifice. You're getting knocked out. You're getting chinned, and you're getting chinned badly. And it's going to come at the hands of Mauricio Rufi. Now, listen, this fight was heavily rumored to take place at UFC 317. For whatever reason, it did not happen. I don't think it was ever signed or anything. But Rufi has called out Beneil Dariush in the past, and Dariush is now coming off a big bounce back win against Renato Moicano, who I believe to be overrated. But I'm happy for Benny. Benny's back in the win column. He's holding like the number 8 ranking in the lightweight division. So listen, guys, you know the UFC loves to push their stars. They love to cherry pick their matchmaking. Mauricio Rufi. I think most people would pick Mauricio Rufi to take out Beneil Dariush. And guys, Mauricio Rufi's calling out Ilia Topuria. Obviously, he's not going to get that fight yet, but Mauricio Rufi has potential to be a big star in the division. He's got the knockout of the year so far. I don't think anybody's going to pass that up. But Mauricio Rufi versus Beneil Dariush is a good fight and honestly a good step up in competition. But it's also a very winnable fight for Mauricio Rufi. You know the UFC is going to try to push Rufi to favorable matchups. And Beneil Dariush got dropped by Renato Moicano in round 1. He's chinny, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. Mauricio Rufi is an excellent striker. He's going to knock out Beneil Dariush. And the thing is, this is going to elevate Rufi so much. I get that Beneil Dariush is not this killer that he was in his prime, guys. People forget, man, Beneil Dariush was a killer in his prime. He was tough, riding an 8-fight win streak, going on to fight Charles Oliveira. If he would have won that fight, we would have got Dariush versus Islam. But anyway, I'm sorry, Benny. You have to be sacrificed. I really thought about Rafael Fiziev. I think these are the only 2 options that make sense is Rafael Fiziev or Mauricio Rufi. Now, if I'm the UFC, I want Mauricio Rufi fighting for a title at some point. So let's book him versus the number 8 contender, and that's Beneil Dariush. And if Mauricio Rufi wins that, which I do think he will, I mean, are we looking at 1, maybe 2 fights away max? 2 fights max of Mauricio Rufi fighting for a title? Come on, bro. I'm the perfect matchmaker here. And not only that, it's not like we're just giving him a nobody. Beneil Dariush, chinny, but he's a tough out, bro. Great grappler. It's a good step up in competition for Mauricio Rufi. Let's book him against a true grappler, not just a striker. And I'm sorry, again, I love you, Beneil Dariush. It just has to be done. We're not pushing you. You're not fighting for a title. I don't care how many fights you win in a row. It's just not happening. Beneil Dariush, your time is up, buddy. We have to use you for the betterment of the UFC, for the betterment of the sport. And you have to get sacrificed by Mauricio Rufi. That's just how the cookie crumbles, man. That's how they crumble cookies, okay? Let's keep it rolling. Money Moicano. This one was tough. I did not know who to matchmake Moicano with. I thought about Fiziev as well, but we've already seen that fight. I'm going to be honest, Rafael Fiziev, I know I keep bringing him up. He wasn't even on the card, but he just fought recently. I want to see him drop down to 145. I'm going to be honest, he's an undersized lightweight, but he's proved that he can still hang with the best 155ers on the planet. But I think he should drop down to 145, and I think he could have a lot of success in the featherweight division. But anyway, Renato Moicano, let's book him versus Michael Chandler, guys. Listen, the trash talk would actually be pretty funny. Moicano tries his best to sell fights. So does Michael Chandler. Both guys coming off a loss, except Michael Chandler's coming off a parlay of losses. He's coming off a lot of losses. He needs to bounce back. If you're going to continue to fight, you're either going to fight big names or you got to get a win, or otherwise you're about to be retiring. Michael Chandler is on the verge of hitting Tony Ferguson status, bro. I'm just saying it how it is. Moicano versus Chandler, that's a perfect, it's not enough for a co-main event spot, but it's a perfect, I don't know, main card opener. A lot of casual UFC fans know Money Moicano. They also know Michael Chandler. I think Moicano is a big enough star to match with Michael Chandler, but at the same time, it's a winnable fight for Michael Chandler as well. We need this man back in the win column, especially if he's going to keep shouting out, trying to get the Conor McGregor fight, buddy. You need to get a win. But anyway, I think this is a perfect addition. I know I keep bringing up Madison Square Garden as well, but this is a good main card opener. We can do this as a 3-rounder, main card opener, Madison Square Garden, because Michael Chandler thinks he's this big star, but everybody loves watching a Michael Chandler fight. I love the idea of Michael Chandler versus Benoit Saint Denis as well. But either way, Michael Chandler, I don't know if he's going to return this year or wait till early next year. He might wait till early next year, but either way, Moicano took some damage. He can recover a little bit. And let's book this fight. But let's go ahead and wrap it up with the one and the only Pride Month Talbott. Guys, I tried to tell you, Peyton Talbott in the month of June, all of his stats just bump up 20%, bro. Peyton Talbott looked phenomenal against Felipe Lima, bro. And the thing is, if you picked Felipe Lima, bro, you're a casual, bro. I'm playing. Picking Felipe Lima was valid beforehand because we just saw Talbot get ragdolled, get dominated by Hony Barcelos, which people forget, man. Hony Barcelos is a true crafty vet. He is. 5-time wrestling champion, something like that. I'm just gonna say it, he's a crafty vet. He's been in there with Umar Nurmagomedov, Kyler Phillips. I can't think of him off the top of my head, but he's a good fighter. And he exposed Peyton Talbott, and Peyton Talbott has shown vast improvements. So let's let Peyton Talbott take a break from the wrestling. Let's book him against a striker. Let's book him in a fun fight. Adrian Yanez, former ranked fighter. He's not ranked anymore. It's a fight that Talbott can win. I think he will win. But at the same time, it pushes Peyton Talbott one step closer to the rankings and ultimately, possibly, one step closer to a title fight. Peyton Talbott, if he beats Adrian Yanez, which I do think should be next. He's been calling for this fight for a long time, by the way. If Peyton Talbott does beat him, he's fighting somebody in the rankings next. And the thing is, I'm not trying to glaze, bro, but Peyton Talbott looked so good in the last fight. He does have some flaws, though, with his striking defense, but so does Adrian Yanez. Somebody's getting chinned, bro. I think it's going to be Yanez, but I love the pressure that we see from Talbot. Walks up, gets right in your face, puts the pressure on you, puts the 1-2 on you, man. Mixes in a couple crafty wheel kicks as well. But guys, this is a fun fight. Another main card worthy fight. Maybe a prelim closer, a feature prelim. But at this point, Talbot just won on a main card. I don't know if we'll see him on the prelims ever again, unless he starts losing. But anyways, guys, this is a banger fight. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. That's going to be it for me, guys. Let me know in the comments which matchups you want to see next. And let me know if I coach. Let me know if Hunter, Dana, Sean Shelby, let me know if they should hire me, bro. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I know I'm the best matchmaker on YouTube. You don't have to tell me. I cook. We cook every single time. I was part of the reason Joshua Van and Brandon Royval came together, man. Y'all know what it is. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all once again. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the post notifications on. But that's going to be it for me once again. And we out.